IVM.
News Kids on the Block. We bring to you stories that top the nation's papers, fresh from the IVM and Ascend International School Desk. Hi, I'm Kavya.
I'm Anya.
And I'm Trivik.
And welcome to this episode of News Kids on the Block, where we give you all the top news updates of the week.
Let's start off with another COVID update. It feels like we're back in the era of COVID updates. And I'm going to be talking about how the head of the World Health Organization, the WHO, has issued a warning to world leaders that the coronavirus pandemic is nowhere near over. So Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus cautioned against the assumption that the newly dominant Omicron variant is significantly milder and has eliminated the threat posed by the virus. So the intervention comes as some European nations saw record new case numbers, as France reported nearly 500,000 new daily cases on Tuesday. And for the first time since the start of the pandemic, more than 100,000 new infections were recorded in Germany within 24 hours on Wednesday. Speaking during a news conference at the WHO's headquarters in Geneva, Dr. Tedros told reporters that the Omicron variant has led to 18 million new infections across the world over the past week, me being one of them. So just a quick little COVID update for you guys this week. Omicron is really dominant in the world right now. So stay masked up, stay safe, and keep socially distanced.
I think that, while I completely agree that COVID is nowhere near over and that while it's really important for us to stay safe, I also think that we're reaching a point where it's really hard to stay at home and not go on with our normal lives. And I also think at this point, it's just, in my opinion, I think we should just, go on with life and start school and open things up, because, I think this is our new normal. I don't think it's ever going to be like how it was. So I think it's...
Yeah, I think that it's something that we have to start living with. We keep talking about...
Yeah.
Going back to normal, but what is normal? It's been almost 2 years now. And I think we should embrace COVID, but it's not a joke at the same time. We've seen the negative effects of it. And I think it's just about making that a part of our lifestyle. And of course, it'll take time, but with time, it'll become easy.
The next story I have for you today is about the Tonga volcano eruption that took place on the 15th of January. It was an undersea volcano that was around 40 miles north of Tonga's main island, which erupted, and it obviously released a lot of ash and steam and gas more than 12 miles into the air and created a cloud of sulfur dioxide over the entire region and sent particles all over the island. And this is not where it ended. Hours after the volcano erupted, Tonga was hit by a tsunami with waves of up to 4 feet in height. And Tonga is in the Ring of Fire region. And this volcano specifically has erupted a few times over the past few decades. But none of them have ever been this as bad as this and on this scale. There are photos actually of houses and rooftops and vegetation areas covered in ash. And the runway was covered in ash, the airplane runway. So this delayed aid deliveries from other countries to help Tonga. And it was a lot of damage that was caused by this volcano. So I hope that everyone there is doing okay. And I hope that my heart goes out to all of the people that were affected by this.
And with that, we will take a short break and be right back after a few promos.
Habits? Routines? How exactly do they help us get better? Well, to simplify it for you, tune in to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashton Doctor, and I'm going to be here to help you get better daily with some simple, easy to do habits that you can easily adapt to your life. So tune in to the Habit Coach podcast from Monday to Friday, because I believe that awesome lives start with awesome habits.
Welcome back to News Kids on the Block. I'm your co-host Anya. And the next story we have for you today is one that is a little bit close to my heart. Very unfortunately, on the 17th of January 2022, the world of Indian dance and music lost Pandit Birju Maharaj. For those of you who don't know, Pandit Birju Maharaj was a Kathak dancer, and he was also a singer, and he carried on the legacy of the Lucknow Gharana. His family, his uncles were Shambhu Maharaj and Lachu Maharaj, who are some of the most revered Kathak gurus that we've seen in the world of dance today. In 1986, he was also a Padma Vibhushan awardee. And I think that, the classical arts are something that the beauty of them is that, you learn it from your guru and you take it, you make it your own and you teach it to your student. And because it's an oral tradition, the magnitude that comes with being someone as revered as, say, Pandit Birju Maharaj, it becomes a little bit harder to see it sort of fall down or to see that continuity or that chain continuing on with it. Pandit Birju Maharaj he learned, and I think he started teaching in New Delhi at the age of by the age of 13. His I think one of the most special things about his style of singing was he often would dance and sing the thumri. So a thumri is it's a style of music that comes from the verb thumkana, or to dance. These are really pretty because they're always told from the female's point of view, so always from Radha's point of view, and he would always dance and sing them at the same time, and you could just kind of see him become the character and leave everything that he had to say onto that stage. He also choreographed a lot of dances in movies like Satyajit Ray's Shatranj Ke Khiladi, as well as even newer movies for us relatively, like Dil To Pagal Hai, and most recently, I believe he choreographed some work for in the movie Kalank. He also was one of the youngest artists to ever receive the Sangeet Natak Academy Award at the age of 28. And the Natak Academy Award is one of the most revered and prestigious awards that any classical artist, singer, dancer can aspire. He unfortunately died, like I said, on the 17th of January from a heart attack in his residence. He was 84 at the time, but I hope that his legacy will live on.
Thanks, Anya. The next story we have for you today takes place in Indonesia. Some really interesting news, actually. Indonesia will be getting a new capital, Nusantara. The parliament passed a bill that signed off on the plan to move the country's capital from Jakarta, Nusantara. Jakarta will, like Mumbai, remain the financial capital of Indonesia, but there are several reasons why they are moving from Jakarta. The first is the most obvious one. Jakarta is a really overcrowded city, and not much action has been taken there to prevent climate change. It is, for example, the fastest sinking city in the world. About 40% of the city now lies under sea levels. And the main reason for this is groundwater depletion, which has basically caused the ground to sink and the sea levels to rise. And it is predicted that by 2050, 95% of North Jakarta will be entirely submerged underwater. And it's also a region that is heavily prone to earthquakes. Jakarta's population is 10.4 million people, which is crammed within just 661.5 square kilometers. And this is creating many problems. First of all, the traffic jams in the city are really bad, ranked 7th worst in the world. And alongside Delhi, it is also one of the most air polluted cities in the world. This new capital will be built over 180,000 hectares of state-owned forest land and 110 coal mining concessions. And the president, Joko Widodo, claims the location is very strategic. It's in the center of Indonesia and close to urban areas. The only problem with this is that the region in which the new capital is being built already suffers really badly from deforestation because of extensive logging, palm oil plantations, forest fires, etc. And at least 30% of the forest cover has been lost to these kind of activities. And it is also home to very endangered species, orangutans and sun bears. Indonesia's greenhouse gas emissions are already one of the highest in the world, and I think this isn't going to help it very much. And while this location for this new capital might be very strategic and well placed, the government of Indonesia still needs to put in a lot of work to fix the country's climate crisis, and hopefully it will make it more sustainable. And with that, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back on News Kids on the Block.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus and Hitesh Dhingra discuss his many startups, how he built letsbuy.com, Truly Madly, and his latest endeavor, The Man Company. On Shunya One, Shilithya and I talked to Vijay Prateek, founder and CEO at Demitas Energies. We discussed the new tech that he's bringing onto the power grid and the potential revolution that it can bring. On Postcards from Nowhere, Utsav tells us about Bhojpuri migration songs in his new series, The Great Indian Migration. On a show about crypto, Rohan asks Mohit Momoria, CEO at Mailman, if blockchain is the solution to everything. And on All Things Policy, the Takshashila folks debate over the role of emerging tech in the military with regards to China. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. We really do appreciate the word of mouth. Also, don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms that you're listening to us on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is. And we are also on YouTube. On YouTube, you can check out our various channels on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Bank of Baroda and CoinSwitch Kuber. Thank you for making this possible.
Welcome back to News Kids on the Block. Our next story for you today is about Virat Kohli's Test captaincy retirement. He already retired from white ball captaincy a little while ago. And post the series in South Africa, he took social media sharing a post which was quite long, and the caption was just an Indian flag, and he says, "It's been 7 years of hard work, toil, and relentless perseverance every day to take the team in the right direction. I've done the job with absolute honesty and left nothing out there. Everything has to come to a halt at some stage for me as Test captain of India. It's now. There have been many ups and downs, and also some downs along the journey, but never has there been a lack of effort or lack of belief. I've always believed in giving my 120% in everything I do, and if I can't do that, I know it's not the right thing to do. I have absolute clarity in my heart and I cannot be dishonest to my team." He goes on to thank the BCCI, Ravi Bhai or Ravi Shastri, who was the former Indian team coach, and lastly MS Dhoni, who found him to be the individual to take Indian cricket forward. At the moment, it is not known who will be the next Test captain. Some say it could be Jasprit Bumrah or KL Rahul, but nothing official as of now. His resignation as captain comes with a whole lot of controversy and a whole lot of he said, no one really knowing it. And while all of this unfolds, I think let's take a moment to appreciate what Virat Kohli has done in the last 7 years of being the Test cricket captain. I think for a player of Virat Kohli's caliber, not only has he consistently performed across the last 7 years, but more importantly, he has led the team by example, and he has made India feared. As you know, you read a lot of articles that say he literally took India from the team rankings from number 7 to number 1 as a Test team, where they have been consistently for the last few years. But I think he showed us that an Indian team can be at par with any Western nation. And it really doesn't matter that if we believe as Indians we can do something and we put our mind to it, that makes us as fearless and as to be feared by anyone else. And I think that is what Virat Kohli's legacy is. They are currently playing the ODI series in South Africa, where Virat Kohli is not captain, of course. But I think that's what Virat Kohli achieved as captain. He made India fearless and he made India feared, and he put us on the map as a country that has a caliber worthy of playing Test cricket. And he reinvented Test cricket with that same thing of making it a true testament to the grit and the power of the game. And I think that, like I said, that is his legacy.
Yeah, I completely agree, Anna. I think as much as he gets slack for his aggression, it really has really important part of getting India on, like you said, on the map, and someone that people consider worthy of having a match against.
With that, I will take you to our last story for the day, which is about the postponements of games in the Premier League. When recently there's been quite some controversy regarding these postponements, as firstly, Liverpool postponed their Carabao Cup semi-final first leg against Arsenal, which 2 days later, they found out that their test results were false positives, causing some to say that Liverpool might have rigged the results of their round of testing due to pushing the fixtures as far back so that Salah and Mane and Naby Keita, their players who are off at AFCON, could potentially return. And while I am not accusing the club of anything, it has caused a lot of controversy, especially with the Arsenal faithful, who then themselves saw a game postponed, causing yet some more controversy. They asked for their game against Tottenham Hotspur to be postponed, the North London derby, which was scheduled to go ahead this weekend. They requested postponement of that game, and it was not because of COVID cases. I think they had 3 COVID cases in their squad. Some of it was because of injuries, which is what caused the footballing world to be puzzled, because these postponements were meant to be just for cases of COVID. And, with the new pandemic, these postponements were meant to be used in a responsible manner, only surrounding cases of COVID-19. And Arsenal have used it. However, they did not have enough first-team players to field a team against Tottenham. The fact that they postponed it for reasons other than COVID caused a lot of controversy, especially considering how some of the teams like Leeds United are in a very similar situation but have just gone ahead with it and are playing their academy kids, the kids they have coming through the rankings. And I think that is another reason why people are saying that should fixtures be postponed because of injuries as well, or is it just a COVID case? It has caused a lot of controversy in the football world, and I'm just here to report.
And that will be it for today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of News Kids on the Block. Don't forget to tune in to us every Friday for our fresh take on the news from across the globe.
If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other podcasts on the IVM network.
You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram.
We'll see you next week. But till then, do share this episode with your folks. Stay safe. And don't forget to do your homework.
Are you looking for finance products and services that can enhance your personal finance experience? Are you looking for a space to talk about your financial product or service? And are you looking for a crisp talk show where the conversation is all about money? Well, your search ends here. Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta and I'm host of the Paisa Paisa podcast, and I invite you for the conversation about your personal finance on each Monday on the IVM Podcast app or the website or on any podcast streaming platforms. See you folks.
What is the workplace and how does your gender and body affect your right at work? Hey, I'm Priya Mirza, and on the Longest Constitution podcast, we critically examine the vision of the Indian Constitution and laws. In season 1, we looked at sex, gender, sexuality in India, and the landmark judgments which transformed our rights as citizens in this country. In season 2, we discussed the laws which shape the workplace and examine how ability, competence, and merit impact us, and much more. Join me, Priya Mirza, every Wednesday only on the IVM Podcast app, website, and all the major podcast streaming platforms.